If you love the look of dry embossing with your embossing folders, you're going to love today's Tuesday tip. Hi, everybody. I'm Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. Today, we're going to learn a fun technique, how to take dry embossed cardstock, again, using those fabulous embossing folders. Now we're going to make those images just pop right off the cards. I think you're going to really enjoy how easy this technique is to do. And stick around to the end of the video. I'll show you how to make these cards as well. So let's head over to my stamping table and get started. So here you can really see how that dry embossed cardstock really pops right off the card, right? I'm going to show you how to do this. And if you'll stick around to the end of the video, I'll show you how to create the card. But we're going to start with the technique itself. Here we go. So you notice how I've got my cardstock cut and I have strips right here in the middle for my sentiment. So this piece here, if you want to go with a horizontal card, you're going to need a piece of cardstock 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. Now, if you're going to go with a vertical card, very easy, you're going to need a piece of cardstock that is 4 by 4. I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Trimmer and I want to cut 1 inch off of each of these pieces of cardstock. So this is very, very simple to do. We're going to go on the long side here. So we've got the short side up at the top, and we're going to cut that 1 inch. So we want to do that cutting before we do our dry embossing, because it can be a little hard to cut embossed cardstock because there's too many ridges going on. I'm going to be using the ornate floral die. I loved the little flowers, especially lent itself very nice with my card. Okay, and here's the thing. I'm sitting here putzing, making sure I get this straight. Guys, there's no pattern to this, so it doesn't matter. We're going to now run this through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And when you do, you're going to get this fabulous embossed image. Now, it's pretty, but you notice it doesn't really pop like this does, right? We're going to work on that. Let me go ahead and emboss my remaining 2 pieces of cardstock. Again, doesn't matter how it goes into the folder. And I'm going to bring in some grid paper because we might get just a little messy, not too bad, but I'm going to come in with my Daffodil Delight ink pad. And you notice I have a sponge dauber. I really prefer sponge daubers for this technique. I'm going to ink up that dauber and I'm going to tap off just a little bit. Sometimes that ink really saturates the dauber and you don't want too much. As I always say, when it comes to sponging, you can always add more, but you can't take it away. So you notice I'm just swirling and I'm doing this very, very lightly because all I want to do is touch this top layer. Now it is hitting down below and that's fine. It's just going to give this extra, depth of the color. But you notice that the top images, the embossed images are going pow, they're just like jumping right off the cardstock. And I love, can you see the difference? Wow, it's just beautiful. And I got to tell you, there is something about sponging and swirling with sponge daubers that is also very relaxing. This is the part of stamp therapy that many of us talk about. It just kind of relaxes you. And I don't know, for me, I just love watching that image kind of come to life. There we go. You can kind of see those side by side, what a difference it makes. Now I am going to go ahead and get my other little strip. And I just want to stress a very light touch, just like you're patting a little baby's head, just like if you were just rubbing their sweet little head. You wouldn't do it really hard, right? Just a nice, gentle touch. All right, so that is done. I'm now just, so I can have it done, I'm going to go ahead and swirl my ink on my remaining 2 pieces. I'm now going to add this to a Whisper White thick card base. It's 5 1/4 by 8 1/2 scored at 4 1/4. When you put the adhesive on embossed cardstock, you might want to go just a little bit heavier than you normally would. That's embossed cardstock, and there's not as much surface area for your adhesive to really stick. So we want to make sure we give ourselves enough room. So you can see that's really coming off the card. I can do the same thing here with my vertical. I'm going to put my larger piece at the top, the 1-inch piece at the bottom. So we can take the cards, and now you can see I simply just added sentiments and some die cut flowers to my cards. As I said, if you want to stick around, I'll go ahead and show you how to complete the cards. But more than anything, I wanted on today's Tuesday tip to be about that very creative background, very unique background. Remember, any of your embossing folders are going to be great with this technique, and I would love to see what you guys create. So be sure to share it with me over on my Facebook page, Simply Simple Stamping. I'd love to see. All right, so we're going to now take these cards. Let's turn them into something more than just this boring thing, okay? We're going to come in with the Best Year stamp set. I love this one. Lots of great sentiments in here. I'm going to bring in a Memento Tuxedo Black ink pad. And let's start with, what have I got first? Wishing you the best year yet. And I'm going to do this one on my vertical card. And you can see I'm just kind of stamping it here over on the left side. And now for my other card, I'm going to make this one a thank you card. And you see these stamps just fit perfectly in that 1¼ inch space. So for my flowers, I'm going to use the cherry blossom dies. These are so much fun. So you notice, I love that Stampin' Up! Does this. They give us 2 large flowers, 2 medium flowers, and then look at this, on one die we have I guess we're going to call them small and extra small. We're actually only going to use the small, and then we've got some great little leaves here as well. And on this single leaf they've given us 2, and then there's a double leaf. We've got 1 of those. Lots of great dies, right? I love to use up scraps when I work, and this card actually lends itself perfectly to scraps. We're going to take those flowers, remember we had the large and the medium, we're going to cut 4 of those, and you notice that's just enough to create my card. So I'll run that through my die cutting machine. Now, if you had some of that yellow, that Daffodil Delight left over as you were working, we're going to cut out 2 of these. Remember, there's 2 flowers on one, and we're going to need 4 of those to go inside here, so I can run that through my machine. Now I have some Granny Apple Green, because that Granny Apple Green is such a gorgeous bright green, and we're going to get 1 of our double leaves, and then we're going to come in with the 2 single leaves. And guys, this is the only one that's going to have to go through our machine twice, is that Daffodil Delight. I'm going to run all this through, and then I'll show you how to put the card together. All right, there are all my die cut pieces. And now I'm just, my multi-purpose glue was here. I'm simply going to take the yellow, the daffodil flowers, and they're just going to adhere right inside. We've got 4 of them, so let's go ahead and add these to each of our Magenta Madness flowers. Do you notice how bright? Woo, I love it. And with all this cold weather, this bright color is sunshine. All right, now we want to adhere our leaves. So I'm going to put just a little dot of glue here, and I'm going to take the double. We're going to get that on one of the large flowers, okay? I'm going to set that down to dry, and then I'm going to add another leaf here, and this is on another large flower. I'm going to be honest, you guys just get creative and add these leaves. I know there's going to be one that's going to be without, but don't worry about it. We're going to have a little way that we're going to hide that. So I'm going to go ahead and add my leaves right here. Let that dry for just a minute, because we're going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to add these to our cards, because we've got great pop going here. We're going to give a little bit more. So you can see if I put a Stampin' Dimensional right on top of that leaf, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to secure everything just great. Now this last one, who's kind of lonely without a leaf, don't worry. It's going to be perfectly fine. Okay, we're going to add these to the card. I'm going to actually start with my small one. Remember, this is the small flower, and that 1 single leaf, we're going to add that here to the bottom left of our sentiment. Now we'll take that 2 leaf flower, add that. There's the other one with a leaf, and now our little lonely flower, but she won't be lonely for long because she's just going to tuck right in there. Now I wanted to give these a little more oomph, and I pulled out my pearls. I haven't used the pearls in a long time. So let's see, on the 2 large flowers, I'm going to add the large pearls, and then on the smaller flowers, I'll go with the smaller pearl, and that's just going to kind of fill in just a little bit. If you have the rhinestones, they would look gorgeous as well. And now we're going to come in with that polka dotted tulle. Oh, how I love this stuff. I've just got a little, actually, this was a little scrap. And I'm just going to tie it in a knot. And when you tie this, you don't want to tie it real tight because it's very thin, right? This is a very thin. So we want to kind of leave a bit of a square, a squared off knot. I'm going to trim this down. I'll come in with a mini glue dot. I like to just press my bows right there in the center on a mini glue dot and add that right here over my sentiment. Oh my goodness, it's so cute. Let me bring in the other card. And I think you can see it was designed exactly the same way. So I've got my same little Magenta Madness flowers with some of the scrap that I had when I was cutting my Daffodil Delight. I just used the scrap here. And then again, those leaves were just a tiny bit of scrap. It really did not take much. I hope that those cards inspired you and that you will get your hands on some of these fabulous little sponge daubers, and you're going to start adding some pop to your embossed cardstock so you can create some cards to send to family and friends and knock their socks off. There you go, my friends. I hope you enjoyed today's project. If you did, I would love a thumbs up on YouTube. Thank you so much for that. And if you'd like to order any of the supplies I used on my cards, head over to simplysimplestamping.com or look down in the YouTube description and you will see a link that'll take you right to today's post that'll have a complete supply list for you, and you can order what you need right there. Thank you again so much for being here. Have a fabulous day, my friends, and I look forward to stamping with you again soon. Bye-bye.